Dígad tá fáilte ród is mise John Gavin ó Leavingcertirish.com. Hello and welcome. My name is John Gavin from Leavingcertirish.com, and in association with the Irish Times, I'm going to briefly take a look at today's higher level Irish Paper 1 for Leaving Cert. Overall, my impression is this is a very, very fair examination. I think the questions, particularly for the Clustishkin, were very, very fair. Any student who would have prepared and had gone through a number of the past papers should have been very, very happy and comfortable with the questions asked. I think that they were well structured and nicely laid out. There were a couple of free verbs or impersonal verbs in the questions, which sometimes catches people out a little bit. So for example, here in Fógra Do, in question 2, you can see down at the bottom, Scriptures and Dashgil a Vunfer and Horsa, write down the 2 skills that will be taught during the course. So little things like that sometimes can catch people out. It's not a major deal, but those free verbs are very, very important and they need to be watched out for. But I'd say most people would have got the answer regardless. The second section of the paper course, as I say, I'm very happy with the listening comprehensions. I don't think there was anything untoward in those. But the second section of the paper is what most people like to focus on. The first 5 titles I would have been very, very happy with. I think anyone who prepared in advance did very well. The very first option, 5 vor internanáisiúnta sa látá Jovan, a major international problem nowadays or today, would have allowed you to bring in a lot of the different standard topics that people study. So for example, if you decide to write about an timpelachs, on Cohill, the environment, that would have been a great option. Skevlehorts, terrorism, any of those things would have been very appropriate and suitable and would have allowed you to write quite extensively and openly. Sail na tuithe nera faoi láthair, countryside life in Ireland today, which again is very popular with people who live in the countryside because they've prepared that very topic for the Leaving Cert Irish Oral. Culture na Nina Oga, I think the culture of young people is very, very popular. Again, people like to talk about Cursi Olachoin, Cursi Druggy, things like that would have been used there, and most people prepare something on that. So I would imagine that option C here was very, very popular and would have allowed you to include pretty much all of the information you prepared beforehand. Éirnig agus on Imrica, now I was surprised to see this. Irish people and emigration today, that was very topical 2 or 3 years ago, less so nowadays. With the economy improving, I thought there might have been something about the economy improving, but that didn't come up. But the one that I was actually surprised to see, exactly as had been predicted in many cases, was the commemoration of the 1916 Easter Rising. That I was surprised to see as an exact title. Nearly every one of you at higher level would have prepared for that in advance of the Irish Oral, of course, because it was highly topical at that time. So I was surprised that you were given the option to completely recycle that information in an exact title such as you were given. But it was great that it happened, especially for those who'd done the work for the oral. It was very simple and very much falls into my own particular viewpoint, which is if you can speak it, you can write it, and certainly anyone who followed that advice did very well there. The scale option, which is not as popular obviously at Leaving Cert level as it is at Junior Cert level, but for those who were looking to use their scale option, Untas and as far and in on Taunty, if you didn't know what the Shanokal meant, it meant that health is better than wealth, and Untas of course is a surprise or wonder of some kind. So that may have appealed to certain students. And the D-Sport I thought was actually a little bit more technical than people might at first have thought. The first option being Sail Bride, Nadina Aista and Erin. Dina Aista, of course, is old people as opposed to Dina Oga. So it was interesting that something in Dina Oga and Dina Aista came up on the one paper. But being Sail Bride, Nadina Aista and Erin, grown-ups or elderly people in Ireland, should I say, have a good life. So that was interesting. Maybe talking about poverty, Bachtanus, you could have brought either of those in there. And this was very interesting title, I thought, because politics would have been a major topic throughout the year with the general election until Tauchan. So it's interesting that the title came up as this: Na plan atá gom do ma hirma sa dal nua, the plans I have for my term in the new Dáil. So you would have to take the viewpoint of a TD. So I suppose if you prepared something on the economy and politics, that would have been a great option if you looked at the díspóireachta órad. So Sinead, very, very happy with Páipéar Hain. Hopefully you had a good day today. My name is John Gavin from Leavingcertirish.com, and tomorrow we'll be back and we'll take a look at Páipéar Adó, which is no doubt what a lot of people are now beginning to work on tonight, and hopefully it works out as a fair balance paper like today. Gur míle mágat, slán tamil.